First Take discussed the issue between Kevin Durant and Dennis Schroder. It's not much of an issue at the end of the day. It's just a little bit of a disagreement that may have got taken out of context a bit more. And I did a very, very deep dive on the whole USA basketball versus Euro basketball, a little bit of the history, and, really broke things down further. So make sure to check out that video after this one. I'm going to play certain clips that Stephen A said, clips that Shannon Sharpe said in reaction to what's going on with these two. And then I'm going to react to it a little bit, just give you my opinion on what they're saying. And then we could come back and really wrap this up. Here we go.
You know when the mosquito bites you? You know why the mosquito bites you, Stephen A? His only intent, her is the female because of the egg, she's feeding the baby. Her only intent is to get blood. Now, in the process of that, she might give you malaria, she might give you Zika, she might give you West Nile. That wasn't her intent. Intent only matters to the mosquito. You still have Zika, West Nile, or malaria. Whether Dennis Schroder meant it as a negative, that is the way Kevin Durant perceived it. You're saying the only reason that American basketball is that entertainment and that we don't have high IQ. Really? You have to stop with this intent. Well, that's not how I intended it. Well, intent only matters to you because the person that heard it is still equally as offended, whether you intended it to be that or not. The class said, what's the difference between manslaughter and murder? He says, you know what, before y'all, because we were struggling, he says intent. He says, but intent only matters to the defendant. The victim is just as dead.
Shannon Sharpe makes a compelling argument when he mentions his metaphor between the murder versus manslaughter, the intent of the mosquito biting you, and then it gives you diseases that it didn't know, obviously. And the only thing I would say, I actually agree with him, right? The only little pushback I would give is that sometimes most people could hear a joke and they know it's a joke, but then you may have that one person who doesn't take it as such. And everyone in the room is like, yo, we're just having fun. It wasn't even that serious, but they may take it that way, right? Even though most people may know that wasn't your intent. However, in this case, most people, or I'll speak for myself, when I heard that comment, I did take it as, oh, you're saying USA, you don't play with the level of IQ that we do, right? I didn't take it as a joke or something that was just small and he was just getting off his starch, right? It was a little bit of a shot, you could say. And I'll give this metaphor, I'll give my own one. This is like when you're facing somebody one-on-one in a basketball game, and just before the game starts, your opponent is basically saying, look, man, a lot of you guys, you got to dribble the ball a lot, do all these fancy crossovers. I don't really got to do that. I'm a great shooter. I worked on my game all the time, perfected it, worked on the fundamentals of moving without the ball, catch and shoot, and that's my advantage. Then the game goes on, and not only do you win, but you end up saying after, look, bro, I could dribble, crossover, and I still got a shot myself too. I could do both. Then that person ends up getting angry. And it's like, well, wait a minute. I'm just responding back to what you said and clarifying that I can still do both.
Etc., etc. And then I saw this and I said about Dennis Schroder, what the hell is wrong with you? I mean, first of all, you got no business calling Kevin Durant weak. Let's call Kevin Durant what he is. He's one of the greatest players in NBA history. And Dennis Schroder talking about him, you talking about him like he's just somebody. Or I know they're all goats. Well, you ain't talking about him like he's a goat. You attacked his manhood. You talking about he's weak. How dare you say something like that about Kevin Durant? Kevin Durant don't deserve that. This need to talk about Kevin Durant like he's just somebody. We gonna put a stop to that on First Take right now. Dennis Schroder, you can't shine Kevin Durant's shoes. You can't do it. You're just not that guy. And you're good. You're not a scrub. I wish the Lakers still had Dennis. But you ain't Kevin Durant. And to know the resume that Kevin Durant has, to address him that way, just because he said he put a photo with a caption, entertainment and IQ, that's all?
Here's a nuance in this. Dennis Schroder, if you read throughout his quotes that he said about this situation, nowhere did he question Kevin Durant's skill as a basketball player or anything on the court. But he did question his personality as a person in calling him weak. This is where, as a creator, it gets a little bit uncomfortable. I just want to talk about the game of basketball, these players' skill sets, what they could do, their strengths and weaknesses. Anytime it starts going into this kind of zone, it makes me feel like, hey, maybe I should back off. But let's try to stick this to the court. Stephen A, when he said that Dennis Schroder can't shine Durant's shoes or you're nowhere in his league, again, if you go back to the quote, Dennis Schroder said, hey, you're the one who's a star, not me. Why are you saying this? And I disagree with that. But he is saying that, Kevin Durant, you are the star. He did admit that I'm not as good as him. The issue that I have with what Stephen A is saying, though, is that if you're saying that he can't shine his shoes while you talking about him in this way, there may be some people who felt that way about Stephen A when he said what Kevin Durant did joining the Golden State Warriors was the weakest move, or maybe other takes he said about athletes, where his remarks are not received as constructive criticism, even though that is his intent, as Shannon Sharpe was just talking about earlier. And then they get into the whole, you never played the game, how you talking about the athletes like this. All of that starts happening.
You guys have been playing together, Schroder, for 10 years, for 15 years. Of course, you guys know each other's moves. We're trying to fit guys together that's only played together for a month. They put this team together for a month. The problem that Schroder has is that he's trying to control both. He wants to be able to control whatever he says and somebody else's response to what he said. You don't get to control both. You don't get to do that. You don't get to say something and then get to control how somebody responds to it. You didn't have to say what you said.
Yeah.
I feel where Shannon Sharpe is coming from. Here's the thing, though. How you respond to something, to me, says a lot, and it means a lot. And so when I'm doing these videos, for example, and people comment whatever their opinion is, if they agree or disagree, sometimes it's respectful, other times it's condescending, and it can be disrespectful. But I always choose to respond in a way that upholds my integrity and what I stand for when it comes to my character. So I don't care to slander somebody online just because I can get away with it at the press of a button. You know, that's a weak person to me, in my opinion. And in the case of KD, he didn't say anything that was disrespectful. It wasn't a bad response. I've said that over and over. So I understand what Shannon Sharpe is saying, though. I should point out, too, before I end this clip, as the video goes on, Stephen A ends up bringing up what Kobe Bryant said about the AAU system and the way players are being developed in America in comparison to Europe, and the things that they got to fix in order to make it a lot better for American players. Stephen A did bring that up in defense of Dennis Schroder, and that very clip, I believe, is in my video. If it's not, it's still Kobe Bryant either way, talking about the difference between Euro basketball and the way American players are being taught what needs to be fixed, as I was saying. And that is in my original video when it came to this topic specifically. Anyways, let me know what y'all think of Stephen A's take about this, Shannon Sharpe's, what I had to say, and hit me up in the comment section. Like, share, and subscribe. As always, salute for listening. Peace. One more thing, if you made it all the way to the end, check the link in the description. There is an Amazon purchase for the Kobe Bryant Mamba Mentality book. He tells the game from his perspective, his mentality, and what it took to develop into that Mamba that we know today. So go ahead and check that out. All right, now we out.